Alrighty, what's going on, everybody? You guys hear me? Let's see. Bear with me 1 second. You guys hear me good? Awesome. All right. So how's everybody doing? Happy Tuesday. Let's dive into it. It is another week. We are, man, I can't believe it. It is the middle of July. And yeah, the year's going by pretty quick. So let's get into some of the fundamentals first, right? Hopefully you've already taken a look at what the market is kind of projecting to do this week. Obviously, we got a little bit of bank governors that are going to be speaking. We got one coming up right now. Actually, the Royal Bank of Australia is going to be speaking. If it's anything like what happened this morning with the Bank of England's governor, I really didn't see much coming out of it. But what I do have my eye on is going to be the monetary policy coming out of the Japanese yen, which is going to come out tomorrow sometime. The press conference is really going to be what's going to be showing some volatility. So that's going to be one of the main things. And then, of course, the Euro's refinancing rate and what their monetary policy statement is going to kind of come out on. The one thing I'm going to be focusing on, if we know that the euro is going to be, and you can already see they're pricing in a 0.25% basis point increase. If the euro is going to be making any kind of fundamental change to their monetary policy, it's going to affect the DXY, right? The DXY is the diametrically opposed asset to the euro. So immediately that's going to kind of, and hopefully we're already starting to see that pullback on the dollar. I'm anticipating that that's when we're going to see the dollar go back bullish, is going to be in that aspect. So after we see some manipulation on Thursday, the press conference is going to happen during New York session. So on Thursday, that's going to kind of, my thought process is going to be try to position myself into a trade Thursday morning pre-New York. Protect the positions that I'm in, and then let news kind of ride itself out and manipulate. And then I'll play the manipulation after that. Everything really DXY FX, right? What do you mean everything really? So it depends, right? Depends on what's driving that market. So the dollar itself doesn't affect every currency, but if what's driving that current market at the time is the dollar, then yeah, you're going to see manipulation or fluctuation in whatever currency is actually there. So, and then by Friday, I'm not going to be paying too much attention to this. Obviously, this is going to give some minor movement on really more like your European indices, UK 100, German 30, and stuff like that. When we talk about like PMI data and stuff, core sales, we'll see how that ends up playing out on Friday. But the big one that I think this week is going to really play out is going to be the yen and the euro. So with that, like my game plan for the week was I'm actually going to be looking for some buys on yen crosses, right? I've got some that I've had my eye on for a little bit. And then I'm sticking with dollar crosses as long as we can get the pullback and I'll kind of start off with the dollar index, but if we can get that pullback back into the demand area of dollar index, that's really where I want to kind of start setting myself up for the next leg pushes on the dollar crosses. And then of course there's a little bit of Canadian news that's going to come out tomorrow. So, I'm still looking at my NCAD, ACAD shorts. So, and I'm still looking at USD CAD buys, right? So, that's going to kind of round out what I'm going to be looking for the week. Jumping over to the charts, right? Let's get into it. Here we go. So this morning I was actually looking at some positions, but man, I just couldn't find anything. Nothing really that I wanted to position in. We'll talk about some indices at the end. Definitely was looking for bullishness. Alrighty. So yeah, no. I had to yell at some dogs. That's all. Yeah. So let's get over here to dollar index, right? All right. So realistically, where I'm anticipating getting our next, there we go. Where I'm anticipating getting my next buy position on dollar index is going to be right out of the previous reaccumulation. So I'm hoping that dollar can walk itself down in there. I was, once we break order flow right here, once we broke that order flow, my anticipation was we're going to come back to give some mitigation. I was actually looking at a hedge position on GU and EU because I'm holding GU and EU shorts. So I'll take I don't mind taking the hedge positions on them. I've been holding shorts for a very long time. Obviously I haven't gotten it. I haven't seen anything. My eye is definitely on this price action in here. Out of Frankfurt price action is what I'm looking at. But ultimately, I'm going to be sitting. You can see I have my alert here on dollar index. Once we get in here, that's where I'm going to start to see or look for evidence of buyers coming in and taking dollar index back up. So until we get into, this area here, I'm really not looking at continuation moves on any of these dollar crosses because the dollar is what's moving most of these, everything on the dollar side, US dollar, Swiss franc, Canadian, GU, EU, NU, AU, they're all really being driven by what the dollar is doing. So, I mean, with that, I'll kind of like, I'm not gonna be impatient. I'm just gonna sit back, wait on my hands, wait till price gets down into this area, and then that's where I'm gonna be looking for my buys, right? So if it takes, 2 more, 3 more days, my anticipation is we're gonna get there with the Euro news. So, ideally, we're just going to kind of keep trailing something like this. Euro news is going to get us down into this area where hopefully that's where some buyers come in. We'll see the accumulation to take this back up and make a new high. And that's kind of what my speculation is going to be. This right here. Hold on. I do not need this anymore. This right here isn't really evidence of sellers coming into the market. For me, it more looks like just profit taking and a reason for price to come back more into discount before we make our next leg up. Does Frankfurt give us a feel for what's going to happen for the rest of the day? I mean, it could be, right? Yeah, I wouldn't, it all depends on what's happening leading into it. So, if Frankfurt gives us bearish intent, doesn't mean we're going to be bearish the rest of the day. So there's been plenty of instances where, New York session just takes out all of Frankfurt price action. So it's really dependent upon what's going on from it. Yeah. I agree because we are still yeah. I mean, the big news, if you haven't seen what's on the calendar for next week for US dollar news, FOMC next week is going to be a whopper. So, and I really have a feeling that that's what's going to cause, we may get a pullback next week out of it, but this right here, this right here. And if you haven't seen, do the math, that's a 0.75 basis point increase. Never in the history never in the history of the Federal Reserve have we seen a 3/4 point basis increase like this. So I really do think that we're going to get like a little shock and awe in the market on Wednesday of next week. So yeah, we'll see. We'll see what happens. Yeah. So that's kind of what I'm looking with dollar index, right? So going over to euro, what I'm really going to be focused on, and this is something I was looking at today, right? First thing is where do I want to get my next sell opportunity from? What's the, obviously the euro is the diametrically opposed asset to the dollar. So if I know that dollar, I was looking out of my slingshot area here, or what's holding the leg, this distribution is what's holding the leg. Well, I've got to start looking here, or I got to start looking here. So until we get up into those areas, I have no problem taking the hedge buy. And my area that I'm going to be really looking for the hedge buy, this is what I wanted to see today. We really didn't see any weakness, but I'm still pretty confident that we may get this move down to the downside. So I'm going to be looking to see if we can trade back down, sweep out Asian liquidity, and come back into our reaccumulation that gave us the confirmation of the accumulation to begin with. So this is essentially my slingshot area, but it's also the mitigation, right? It is the mitigation of our major manipulation that started this whole run. So that Frankfurt price action is what I'm going to be looking for. So I've got an alert down here at like 101, 200. When we get down into there, I'm going to be waiting for a schematic to play out. So do I always wait for confirmation? Do I always wait for confirmation? Yeah, I do. Everything I do in life, I always wait for confirmation to do anything. So yeah. Otherwise you're just rolling the dice, right? You need confirmation to do something. Today sucked. I mean, today was nothing. I really didn't see anything to get involved in. NU and AU were kind of just teasing us along, but I never got the confirmations that I wanted to ever play into anything. So that's why it sucked. Listen, any day you don't lose money, it should be a good day. So NAS is up. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I was, those of you guys that have been in the Zoom sessions with me, I mean, we've been looking at buys since last week on indices. They played in perfectly Thursday. Thursday's NASDAQ buys were really good. I just didn't get an entry. Well, Friday, I really didn't look for trades, but, and yesterday I really wasn't looking either, but this morning I was definitely looking for buys and just didn't get it. Got caught on JPY shorts as didn't wait for confirmations. So why are you trying to short JPY, man? Nothing really is giving me clear, convincing evidence of sellers coming into the market on JPY. It looks more like profit taking, and we're just going to continue going bullish. So yeah, for me, I can tell you there's no reason that I'm shorting any of the JPY crosses. There's some that I definitely are more bullish on, and those are the ones that I'm kind of attacking this week. But GN has been selling nicely. Dude, I haven't looked at GN in a very, very long time. I just can't stomach. I can't justify taking anywhere between a 4 and a 6 pip spread entry on a pair. Think about it. If you were looking to take a 6 pip stop loss on a trade, and now you've got to add in 4 to 6 pips for spread, you just cut your R to R in half. So for me, I stay away from GN unless it comes into some major structure point, which I know we haven't. If it comes into some major structure point where I can swing it for like 2,500, 3,000 pips, where the 12, 13, 14, 15 pip stop loss really doesn't affect me. Yeah. But realistically, we're just playing order flow on it. But yeah, so on EU, this is really what I'm looking at. I'm looking to see, do we come lower? Right. I'll take a buy out of it if we come lower. Now, if we don't come lower and we just keep trading higher, then the first area that I'm really going to be starting to focus my attention on when we come into it is going to be this redistribution right here. So this area right here has my focus point. I want to see if we can get above like the 104, 200 level. And once we get in there, this is where I'm going to be waiting for price action to kind of give me that entry. How do I distinguish between profit taking and compared to sellers and buyers? You've got to look at the price action of the schematic. So look at the reaction that you're getting from the schematic itself, and it'll tell you. I mean, if you really study the price action within that relative schematic, it'll give you a definitive answer whether or not sellers are entering the market or whether it's just buyers. And I'm talking about like in a bullish market, if it's just buyers taking profits, right? You also have to distinguish between if it's true supply, meaning sellers coming into the market, or if it's just buyers distributing out of positions so that they can push the market lower for their next buy area, right? Not every distribution is sellers. Not every distribution is supply coming in to push the market lower. It is, you've got to really understand the market cycle, where you are in the market cycle, and understand, whether or not, I could tell you that the probably the biggest indicator to determine whether or not a distribution is true supply is look left, right? In order for it to be true supply, supply has to be mitigating out of something off to the left. And if you're in no man's land, if it's nowhere, like if, a great indicator, I laugh because how many times did I say, and I know a lot of you guys on the call that were on some of these calls that I was doing, how many times did I say that we were, oh geez, come on, trading view, man. Trading view's killing me. How many times did I say that this was not going to be the sell-off, right? How many times did I say that we're coming up here? Because this was in no man's land, right? This was not the sell-off for me. Across the board, indices, this was a really good indicator that this was not designed. Yeah, look at this. So U30 is going to blow right through this, but this was not designed as a supply, right? This supply wasn't here to push this lower. What all of this was intended to was get back into our area of demand, and go figure, we tap right into 80% of it, so those are one of the things, like when you're looking at price action, you've got to start determining whether or not that distribution is supply or whether it's demand, because demand can be in charge of that distribution and its intent. So I could tell you it gets easier as the more and more charts you see and the more and more in price action you break down and backtest and look at. Remember, the key here is going back to cause and effect. There we go, cause and effect. That's probably one of the best relationships that you can find with that price action. Alrighty, so when you draw your 1-2 on the retracement on a reaccumulation, do you start from the UTAD? Do you start from the UTAD of the distribution? All right, yeah, I have no idea what you're talking about, bro. When you draw your 1-2, on the retracement on a reaccumulation, do you start? Yeah, I have no idea. Yeah, I don't know. Anyway, so let's, so on EU, that's going to be my primary focus is, do I get into the buy area? Right. And if I don't get into the buy area, I'm just going to sit back and wait for us to get into this sell area up here. Right. So I've got an alert up here around 104,200, and this is going to be my first point of interest. All right. This is the first point of interest that I want to see price get into for my next short. If we trade above it, then it's going to come right into the distribution that I'm waiting on, right? Which is going to be, there we go. Hold on, I'm trying to line it up. There you go. It's going to be the distribution that I'm going to be waiting up. All right. So we'll see what happens. It's about 200 pips from the sell area, which is why I want to see if I can catch the buy. And if I can catch the buy, great. Going on with GU, right? GU is a little different. I don't want to take any hedge buys on it. I don't really see a lot of evidence of buying coming in. Realistically, what I'll be waiting for, and you can see like we've distributed here. So it's going to be a waiting game. Does the distribution now break order flow? If it breaks order flow, I may be interested in trying to buy something out of here. And then when we come back up into this area, depending on what we do from this distribution, do I catch a schematic to just short this off? And then what we have here is just a large accumulation with like essentially a creek or ice, right? Because it'll be a redistro. And then we just sell off, this being the shakeout, right? So realistically, the sign of strength allegedly in our accumulation would then be just turned into a shakeout. So I'm not giving up on, GU shorts. You look at bigger picture and what are we? We're bearish as crap. I'm holding a ton of shorts on this. Where did I want us to come into, right? For me to really start looking at some massive shorts, I want us to come into this price action right here. So I do have an alert at 120,700. If we do get up into this area, this is where I'm going to be shorting from, right? I'm going to wait on confirmation. I want to see evidence of sellers coming into this market to fill more orders to push it down. And of course, if we don't, the main focus is going to be this, right? If we trade above it, I know that this is what needs to be mitigated right here, right? This candle. So this is the 50% of it. This is the 80% of it. So something in here. And, if we just look at previous price action, sell orders got filled, sell orders got filled, sell orders, sell orders, sell orders, sell orders. right? So we know supply is present here. Well, we can see the reaction that we're seeing in that price action, even on the H1 timeframe. And then what did it do? Well, it created the new low. So we know from cause and effect, we know from price action that that is true supply sitting in there. And we know that this is the manipulation that eventually needs to be mitigated of some sort. So we come up here, this is where I'm shorting from, right? Yeah. So that's ultimately my plan with GU. I am prepared to wait it out. I'm prepared to, if GU, think about it, I've been waiting since getting into this area here. This was the 4th, I believe. Yeah. So I've been waiting. We're going on now 15 days for price to come back and mitigate. So yeah, it's just a matter of just letting price play itself out and see if we can get in there. I'm not too interested in taking anything out of New York's distribution here. I mean, it is a clean distro. I just hate the timing. Like if this had been presented during London and, we're coming into New York session, I'd be selling the crap out of this UTAD right here. But I just don't, I don't want to take any kind of manipulation. And I really don't want a needless loss, but I will say that if this distribution is going to hold, right, it really isn't going to be driven by the dollar because the dollar is in no man's land. The dollar is not in an area where I'm expecting buyers to come in. So this would be driven solely on weakness on the pound, right? So what I potentially would like to see, if it does happen, great, Asian session opening up, we come into here and eventually, let Frankfurt. So if this is our last manipulation right in here, right, let Frankfurt just sweep it. There we go. Let Frankfurt sweep whatever happens in here and get a micro distribution from there, just short it. But I would need to see Frankfurt or London Open create the manipulation and then mitigate it. And I would need to see a schematic in here, right? So there's nothing I'm really going to be setting limits off. And I honestly don't even think I'll be up for it unless by chance I'm up and I see it. I mean, it is a valid schematic. It is a valid distribution. I'm sure look at that. We got plenty of divergence. It's just bad timing. That's the only issue I have with it. Are you going to try to short it? Lending? Yeah. I will not take an entry during Asian price action at all. Give me 1 second. Okay. So yeah, I'll be waiting to see, but I'm not trusting it one bit because I don't have any reason to suspect that the dollar is going to go bullish from here. In reality, I think we're just going to push this higher, so if it presents an opportunity during crossover for me, I'll take it, but I'm not going to hold my breath on it. Okay. I'll just be waiting to see if we do push higher. Right. If we do push higher, then I'll just wait in the areas I want to wait on. And if I wake up and let's just say that hypothetically we tap in and now we've come into something like this. All right, I'll play the continuation move, right? Play the distro here, confirm redistro, play the mitigation of the redistro, and we just keep walking this down. But unless I really see evidence of sellers coming into the market, I'm not gonna give it any kind of go. What else was I looking at? I don't know why. Oh, wait. Okay. So that's GU. UCHEF is nowhere for me to even contemplate taking a buy. I'm still bullish on it. I'm just going to be waiting. So bigger picture, right? Bigger picture. What I wanted to see was us come back in to this reaccumulation, right? I wanted to see us. That's my alert there. We did get an accumulation this morning during New York session. But it's just really the biggest issue I'm having is, again, where is dollar? What has this done? Right. We haven't traded into any kind of demand. Right. So for me, this is an example, I think, of where we're just going to accumulate for orders to come back up into the previous redistro before we short off again. So I'm not really interested in trying to buy anything out of here, especially typical end of New York price action, right? What would you change your, what would change your bias to bearish? I wouldn't close my hedge positions because I would, well, I would need a break structure. So what gets me to think bearish on UCHEF? We would need to break this right here. We would need to break that. So I would need to see us come 733 pips down is what I would need to see. And at that point, all of my buys would be out anyway, right? Because that's all of my buys are in here. So yeah. What I really want to see is I want to see us get into this. This is, you can see my alerts sitting in here. This is my first point of interest that I really would like us to get into, but I don't really see that happening. For this to happen, the dollar would just have to really turn bearish, and I don't see that happening. There's nothing on the horizon that's really going to keep the dollar from continuing to just go up and up. So for me, what I'm looking short term is, from a market cycle perspective, we broke the redistribution here. This is our accumulation. And what I want to see is, do we come back into this area here or down into here? So that's ultimately where I'm going to be looking. If they do end up taking this higher, then all right, I'll play the mitigation of it. But it's not in any kind of price action that I want to do anything with at the current point, right? I mean, this is in no man's land. It's smack dab in the middle of bearish order flow from here because of this break, but bullish leg because of that. So, until we're actually in some point of interest, I'm just going to sit back and watch it. There's nothing I'm going to actually physically throw money at. Yeah. On UCAD front, right? UCAD, I'm bullish on this, right? I've been waiting. I feel like I've been waiting forever for this damn play to come in. This is what I'm waiting for. I have been waiting for us to, since the 5th of July, I've been waiting for us to just come right back into this reaccumulation. So unfortunately, we're at it, I don't know, like now, which is not something I want to play. So if I do wake up and we are accumulating here, I'll definitely be looking to take new highs, right? That's going to be one of my main focal points on UCAD. But I need to have an accumulation. This isn't any kind, this is all just order flow. There is no structure in here, right? What's our structure? Our structure is from the buys down here that I'm holding. So this is our structure, right? All this is just playing order flow. So if we break this low, all we are is in a massive distribution. And this is the leg that I need us to come back and mitigate, meaning I would like to see us come down in here, right? This would be my next push to the upside. So that's what I'll be waiting on. But short term, I'm definitely going to be looking tomorrow for potential buys, especially Wednesdays. Oil reserves come out. We may see a depreciation in the Canadian dollar, which will be enough for UCAD buyers to really just start pushing this up. So that's my plan with UCAD. We'll go through some of these that I was looking at today. On AU and NU, right? AU and NU. I was looking for short-term sells because my goal was to sell it down into the next buy area here. Realistically, this is still massively bearish. All we've done is just broken order flow here. So we're in this expansionary move over the last couple of days. And ideally, the goal is I'd like to see if we can get either into here or into here for the next short. So that's why for me, I was just going to play a little ping pong with it, take it down, get into a hedge buy so that I can walk it up into my next sell area, right? I may just end up letting AU play out. There's really not, other than a little bit of news that's coming out tonight right now during this speaker, there's really not a lot that I want to see happen on AU or NU for that matter, right? Did this thing come? I think it came right into the 80 now. Yeah. So this is kind of what I was looking at today, but we just weren't getting any breaks, right? I mean, you could see reaccumulation. Finally, we confirmed the distro here, but we do it at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, my time. So market had about 2 hours left. I'm not taking a trade that late in the day. So it does look like she came right into, I'm guessing 80%. Let me just see. Just shy, but it does look like she came in here. So if tomorrow during London, we do see some weakness, it's really going to be dependent on whether or not there's going to be enough movement to get this to go lower. Again, dollar's not in an area where we're expecting bullishness on the dollar. So what does that leave? That leaves that, well, that just means that the Australian dollar or the Kiwi needs to be really, really starting to depreciate. I mean, I'm definitely bearish on both currencies, their actual futures or their indexes. I'm way bearish on it, but there's got to be some give on it, right? And that's the one thing I'll be looking for is, what do we do when we come into this reaccumulation right here? So if this ends up shorting down, what do we do when we come here? This was the reaccumulation that started all of this. Do we end up breaking it? And if we end up breaking it now, any kind of return gets me in with a schematic to keep shorting this. So we'll see. We'll see how this ends up playing out as well. It's early in the week. I did want to see if I can sell this down because it definitely was worth it. It was like 60 pips. Last time I checked, well, 90 pips from now, but 90 pips, if I can get under a 9 pip stop loss, that's a 1 to 10. That's all I was really looking for, especially on a Tuesday. Right. So I'm definitely still looking to see if this area of distribution plays out. The one thing I don't like about it is there really wasn't a lot of vigor, a lot of intent in the sell orders being filled. I mean, what are we seeing? We're just seeing price make lower high, lower high, lower high. So, that was a little bit of an issue for me today, really looking for sells. But we jump over to the Kiwi and it was a totally different story, right? The Kiwi was massively, massively bearish, right? But what does she just do? And she just ends up reaccumulating, right? During Sydney session now. So there's already divergence in play where NU has already given the high and AU hasn't. So, I mean, it's going to be really dependent upon where we are at London. This could be just the divergence here. Nothing I was looking to short this earlier. Again, I wanted to sell out of here. We came very close to it. We came in here, and as soon as we made the new low, I kind of was done with it. This was we're coming into 3 p.m. Eastern time. Nothing I want to really get involved with at this time. So bigger picture, where do I want NU to come? Well, here is our leg, right? Let me hide this. Hold on. There we go. So we know that this was the push and then this is our leg. So, could we come back into mitigating this up here? Yeah, we could. What is this? This is a massive accumulation in no man's land, right? There's no demand to the left. So what I would like to be, what I'd like to see is I'd just like to see evidence of sellers coming in. Is that divergence a confirmation to short or too long? What, this divergence here? Well, I mean, if you're in a bearish market and you have a distribution with a type 1 here and a type 2 on the other, this is indicating the short, but it could just be a reaccumulation, right? My issue that I have with it is, so in a nutshell, not specific to this, but if you have one that does this and the other that does that, right? You've got that divergence. So I trade the laggard, right? The laggard's the one that's giving me the type 1, but Yeah, I'm not interested in trying to sell this where it's at. I mean, in my opinion, I think we may get a temporary sell off into the reaccumulation before the next buy up, but I don't trade during Sydney or Asian anyway. And you taking the highs, but AU nuts. Yeah. That's, yeah. Hopefully that's what it. If you look on the weekly back to the May 11th, that down candle, would you say that is not big of demands? So this candle right here, what did it do? So what did it do? Give me your thoughts. Sell me on the idea that it's demand. Final down candle before making that high. So what you're saying is this broke this high? Because for me, this is supply because it's a distribution, right? Clear distribution, right? And I mean, you got massive distributions within it. And this distribution leads to a new low. Looks like all this did was just get us right back into supply. And the way I'm looking at it, so like if we go to a daily, definitely looks to me like sellers in the market, right? Follow the market cycle. And it definitely looks clear to me that sellers in this market. So yeah, what was this COVID spike? For me, I think it was just an intentional way of getting the market to come into a discount so they can profit take and get it back up into premium into a supply area up here. Yeah. So for me, there's really not, and if we're going to look at it as demand, so let's say we know that this, right? We know that this was the sell and this was the buy. So why are they moving the market from here and not down in here? Why not this reaccumulation where buy orders got filled here and here? Where they're doing it from, for me, just doesn't make a tremendous amount of sense. This would be where buy orders came in, whether or not they were buy orders to cause a new high or just buy orders to ultimately get price up into the area of supply, but when I look at this, I'm pretty convinced that we're going to take this low eventually. I that's what at least the technicals are telling me. Fundamentally, I don't know. I don't know if the Bank of New Zealand would step in to try to save their currency, but I mean, you can go back and I mean, it's not like it's a huge shift. I mean, we were here back in 2008 over here. We were down in the 50 cent, 49 cent range. So, but this is definitely looking like supply came in here, right? Pushed in, redistributed, pushed in, and we're just continuing walking it down. So, was structure order flow difficult to learn for you? Yes. Yep. Especially when I had to relearn it. Yep. There's a ton of layers of order flow. Absolutely, man. You struggle in terms of knowing which way the market wants to go. Here's the best advice I'll give you. Zoom the heck out. Zoom out. So the current pattern on display on NU is a bullish flag pennant. Really? Okay. All right. Sounds good, man. I honestly, I haven't looked at Forex patterns in a long time, but yeah. So you're bullish on this? You're buying it? That works, man. I mean, I'll definitely be selling it. I'll be looking for shorts, just not quite yet. I'll be, like I said, where I want to really target some shorts is going to be out of this right here. So I want to see if we can get up there. Someone does. Listen, when in doubt, just look over at what is it? My FX book. Look at the sentiment for the community. They'll definitely be giving you some insight. But yeah, I don't mind hedging it. I don't mind hedging it. I just don't hold any NU shorts. So I can't hedge a buy if I don't have shorts on, right? So, it's just going to be a waiting game. I feel like we're going to get a correction. This was the correction that was needed. Whether or not now we play into the area that I want to play into before my next short. Again, it's all going to be dependent on the dollar. Everything right now, XXX USD is being driven by what this thing is doing. So, for Wyckoff theory, do you just look for patterns? Do I just look for patterns? No. So you've got to look for patterns or schematics within points of interest within your structure, and then confirm it with basic principles of supply and demand, if that makes sense. So, because you can get, you could sit on a 5-second time frame and see schematics all over the place. They don't mean anything unless they're in a proper point of interest, right? Where you can build confluence that buyers are coming in because of previous demand or sellers are coming in because of previous supply. What videos do I recommend on order flow or structure from my list? I'll be honest, I couldn't tell you. I've honestly forgotten. I've forgotten what video it would be, where it's at. Yeah, I can. Yeah, I don't even know where to begin with it. There's so many videos on there. I didn't label it as structure or order flow or something like that. So, but yeah, it's definitely something I would say order flow is, and you guys know, I hate order flow. Order flow, there's a reason that I put order flow, what is it, 457, right? I hate order flow because order flow, there's so many layers, there's so many variations of order flow. In a 4-hour chart, you can have, you can have probably 15 different types of order flow within the same leg. So it is, that's why, I call it noise. Just tune out the noise. When you're having difficulty understanding the noise, just block it out. I have that whole, like I have my little hideout tool that'll just block out price action when it's noise. If it means nothing to me, just block it out. And I know a lot of you guys, I think, have benefited from blocking that out to really see what price action is telling you. Not bullish at all. I also see divergent forming on NU, but it's Asian and I don't trade it at all. Okay, sounds good, man. By patterns, Wyckoff schematics. Okay, yeah, yep, yeah. You had a mentor who gave you a schematic cheat sheet. All right, sounds good, man. Yeah. How long do I hold my average trades for? I don't know, man. It depends. Yeah, it all depends. It depends on where I'm trading it from. If I'm trading it from a higher time frame structure point, I'm going to hold it to the next low that it creates, right? So it's all relative. If we have price that does this and we come up into my next area of supply and I catch this trade right here, where am I taking it to this, right? So if this is a 5-minute chart, this is probably going to take 3 hours. If this is a H1 chart, this is probably going to take, 10 days. If this is a daily chart, this is probably going to take a couple of months. So yeah, it all depends on where I'm trading it from. If I'm fortunate enough to get into a higher time frame structure point, yeah, I'll definitely. I think my oldest trades right now that I'm holding are from July 2021 and September. I got a couple in September. EUs in September, GUs in September. NCAT, I think NCAT may be October, but yeah. So it all depends on where I'm holding it from. Um, um, wise to trade in other way. Um, you'll never buy up, only if you have shorts. Yeah. Because if you're buying up to the sell area, you're just counter trend trading it. So my journal told me when I finished out my 2020 book, stop counter trend trading. So ever since I did, my equity curve's gone up. If you have 3 drives and the last one took out liquidity, is it a type 1 or a type 2? So if you only have 3 drives, yeah, then you've got a type 2 schematic. So, ACAD from today. You took ACAD from today. So I guess my only question is this. I mean, it looks good, but what was your point of interest? Like what gets you to go down to a 1 minute time frame? For me, I need a reason, right? I mean, it looks clean. You definitely have a type 1. Boom. There's your UTAD. What did it come into 50? Is that what you took it off of? So we tested the UTAD. The UTAD. We did. We tested the UTAD. On ACAD, we tested the UTAD. The UTAD of what though? Talking about this right up here? Was that your point of interest? That was your point of interest. I got you. Yeah. Because that was my point of interest right there. 80% of the manipulation that created the new low. Mm-hmm. Yeah. My only issue with it though is where NCAT had pushed into. So I kind of, you can kind of see I had the distro on NCAT kind of set up. But yeah, I mean, it was a good play. Good play. Just as long as you had, don't get that tunnel vision, you know. For me, let me just see. Yeah, I mean, you've got a so you've got a type 1 in there. So what do? We come, let's see. So we break here. Look at that. We come right into 50 of it. So we come right into 50 of your UTAD. We break, confirming the weakness. And then you get your little micro in there. So yeah, good play, man. Good play. What's your R to R on it right now? It's got to be massive. What are we talking here? We're talking, let's see. One pip stop. So where's she at right now? She's at 88.80. Yeah, 1 to 45. Not too bad, man. That looks pretty good. Looks pretty good. Where are you taking it down to? Oh yeah, I'd probably be. I mean, this is where I'd probably be taking some partials right out of here. So you're not willing to hold the sells? Why not? You're in a bearish market, man. Yeah, I mean, I'd be partialing out though right in here. So I would say probably coming into this price action here. That's where I'd be partial out. Pay yourself some partials. But yeah, good trade. Good trade. I don't know why the hell we weren't. I mean, maybe I was just Tuesday, man. Maybe I just didn't look at it in depth. I had it marked out. I had the damn thing in here. She comes in pretty easily on it. I don't know, Cash, bro. Maybe if you jumped on the Zoom earlier, you could have been like, hey, check out ACAD. I don't know. I don't know why I missed it. I mean, I had the damn thing marked up. I think it was one of those that I don't know. I think I was fixated on NCAT coming up. Yeah. You believe in higher pullbacks to the upside? How come? Yeah, how come? I bet you people were thinking that here and here and here, probably there, probably there. Yeah. I mean, I learned a long time ago, I can want pullbacks all the time, but just look at this expansionary move here. This was 800 pips in 115 days. Yeah. Probably that's what it was, man. That's probably what it was. All right, hold on, dude. Damn. Where did you get the information on the type of schematics? So yeah, I got it. So I took a course. Yeah, I took a course that there's actually 8 different types of accumulations, 7 different types of distribution, 4 reaccumulations, and 4 redistros. I'll save you a lot of time and effort. You don't need to learn all of them, right? All you got to do is pull up Forex retail trading patterns, and that's all your schematics. Just look for the manipulation, play the mitigation. I think too many people focus way too much on trying to name a schematic, like put the nomenclature on it, like it's the parts of a gun, instead of just looking at the price action on it and playing the price action in relation to what you're expecting the market to do with it. So you just watched this video. Let's see. What's this? Intro to Wyckoff. Is this mine? Oh, yeah. But this thing's old, man. I remember when I did this. Holy crap. The thing's going on a long time. Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let's see. What's my favorite time frame? Man, I don't have a favorite time frame. I don't. Yeah. If the candle's on the 144-minute time frame, I'm taking the 144. If price action is clear on the 13-minute, I'm taking the 13-minute. So it all depends on what I can see the clearest on. You're curious where you can get that information. What on all the different schematics? Yeah, like I said, just do a Google search for Forex trading patterns. There's all your schematics. Yeah, just pull up, here you go. Here's all your schematics right here. Right? I mean, that's a distribution. That's an accumulation, distribution, accumulation, distribution, accumulation, descending wedge accumulation, right? This is a redistro. This can go either way. I'm guessing because it's coming down, it's going to be an accumulation. So it's either going to give you a sign of strength or it's going to spring and break to go to the upside, right? Reaccumulation, redistro, reaccumulation. So yeah, I mean, they're all, I mean, you can just look at all of them and fixate on how you're going to trade them. A lot of it is, for me, I don't trade half of them. Why? Because they don't give the manipulation. I'm going to play the mitigation of it. So, Do you hold those long-term trades on your personal or funded? Personal? Yeah, personal, bro. Yeah. On a funded account, I mean, I think the longest I've held trades on a funded account. Actually, you know what? I take it back. I have that EU trade on TPT still open from like September. But just keep in mind, you're holding those trades. You can only invoice for whatever you close out on. So, yeah, I mean, I would take into account your swap fees and all that and where you are in the cycle on holding it long term on a funded account. Do I have a course that teaches you schematics in detail? No, I don't. That's the cheat sheet your mentor gave you, was the Forex trading patterns. Yeah, good, man. Awesome. When do the 15 schematic patterns come into play? Yeah, because I don't trade them like typical Forex patterns. Yeah. Isn't trading mitigation similar to retail trading? I guess so. I'm a retail trader, so sure. Yeah. I mean, I can't move the market, right? So I've got to play the mitigation of the market. You know, I can put all my money into a buy order. I ain't gonna move that. I ain't moving that order unless it's some low market cap crypto. What was that crypto that I bought that time to explain how the order books work? That where like we saw the wick shoot up. Yeah. I mean, I've got to play the mitigation of it. So, can you explain the manipulation in further detail? Yeah, that's their last orders getting filled, right? That's their last orders getting filled. So they need to manipulate a high or a low in order to fill their orders. You know, I was always taught that, I'll give you an example. So price is coming into a demand area, right? So you come into an accumulation. I was always taught that this manipulation right here, right here, I was always taught that this manipulation right here did one thing. It was to take out all of these stop losses, all these people that got into buys here. Yeah, I mean, I could tell you firsthand knowledge that institutions don't give a crap about our stop losses here. All they care about is filling whatever remaining orders they need in that right there. And then what typically happens after they come in here, you see the market do that, right? That's your evidence that tremendous amount of buy orders came into the market. So they need to test the market to ensure that because they're not doing it on their own, right? They're gonna require assistance. They're gonna need, and this is that area, or that changing of hands from weak hands to strong hands, right? That's exactly what this is here for. So that manipulation is solely based to fill their orders. Why do we get sometimes a type 1 and sometimes we get this? That's simple, because they ran out of orders to fill. They filled all their orders here. They didn't need to fill any more orders. So, yeah. Is it best to just focus on the price action instead of trying to base everything off of a supply and demand? I mean, that's up to you. For me, the supply and demand gets me to the point where I can look at price action. If we're not in an area of supply or demand, right, then I don't care about price action, because I'm not going to sit there and just stare at price action all day. Yep, manipulation would either be your UTED, your spring, your shakeout. Yeah, exactly. Yep. Is a sign of weakness or a sign of strength a must for you? What do you mean, is it a must for me? Like within a schematic? I mean, at some point there has to be, right? Because if we don't have a sign of weakness in a distribution, what do you have? A distribution without a sign of weakness would be, for me, evidence of price reaccumulating, right? You need to have the, yeah, exactly. You need to have that sign of weakness. Now, do I need it in phase B of a schematic? I don't, but I do need price action to show me a willingness or intent of sellers to push the market lower, giving me evidence that they're filling sell orders, right? Yeah. So, all right. Yep. Springer, yeah, there you go, Tim. Yeah. All right. All right. Man, I don't know where the heck we were. So we were talking about AU and NU, right? Man. All right, we'll talk about the yen crosses, right? Yen crosses. So you mentioned not trading counter trend. Isn't retail trading mitigation included in counter trend? No clue what you mean by that, man. So if I'm in a bearish market, I'm not buying price. That's what I mean by counter trend. If I'm bearish in my legs, I'm not going to be looking for buys. I'll be looking for sells. So I'll be mitigating. My entry is going to be the mitigation of whatever manipulation price's current market cycle is in. So if we just came out of distribution and I'm seeing evidence of accumulation, what am I waiting for? Confirmation of redistribution and play the mitigation of the shakeout that created the redistro. So do you think increase of ECB rate can push up euro pairs? Yeah. I'm 100%. I'm 100% expecting a momentary push or appreciation in the euro. So what that means is going back to the dollar index, right? What's if the euro is going to appreciate? That means that the dollar is going to depreciate. Right. So I'm 100% expecting on Thursday during ECB news, this right there. And then once the news is over, that's where I want to see us accumulate, buyers come in to go higher. So that's what I'm hoping for. I can hope all day long though, but unless, I mean, just look at dollar in the past, I've been, I wanted price to come back into this, I wanted price to come back and mitigate any of this, geez, I wanted us to mitigate this. So we haven't seen a lot of pullback, a lot of mitigation on it. So yeah, it is what it is. No biggie. But yeah, I'm expecting a little bit of appreciation on the euro. So, which is why I wanted to buy Euro USD up to my next sell area, especially because I'm holding so many shorts. What I meant was if you're in a bullish market, you're not going to bother with any signs of distribution because that distro is to come back into some supply. So if we're in a bullish market and I see evidence of distribution, yeah, I mean, unless we're in a higher time frame supply zone, I don't care about it. I'll look to play the continuation move, right? So when that distro turns into a reaccumulation, I'll play the mitigation of that. And if that distro just brings me down into the extreme of the leg that we're trading in, even better, right? Because now I have a better target to try to get into. I'm not in this trade, so I know Jake is though. Good job, Jake, man. Good job. So real quick on UJ, my apologies or condolences to anybody that wants to short UJ. I don't think it's going to end very well for you, but we've been looking for buys on UJ for a while. Even last week, I wanted to see us break and come back. Yeah, I'm still waiting, right? I'm still waiting. We saw the next expansionary move, the reaccumulation here. So my point of interest that I was looking at today was I wanted to see price come back into New York's manipulation, right? This was the news that manipulated, came into the reaccumulation, we shot up. So this is the very smallest form of order flow that we have right here. Right. Or at least the smallest form of order flow that I care about. I don't care that, we broke here and then we did all of this. This is all noise to me. So my thought process in here was, measure out the manipulation, that's 50%. Here's the 80%. Well, I wanted to see an accumulation. Well, we got an accumulation. There she is. Right. Lower time frame, New York session. She comes in and Yeah, I'm gonna have to have words with myself on this one too, because I really, when I started looking at this today, I have no reason as to why I didn't take the damn 80%. But she gives a really clean type 1 accumulation, right? There's your climax, there's your test in B, and ultimately that's your spring. So you measure it out, and she comes just shy of the 80%, but she does come into 50. So this was an easy play. I know a couple guys caught it this morning. Good for them. And then what do? Then we reaccumulate, right? There's your creek, and we reaccumulate. So I was hoping to come back into here. We just never got it. And then following it up today, we reaccumulate, and I was really hoping to come back into this. You could see I had my limit order here, and we just never saw it. So at some point you just got to let it spread its wings and fly away. So, but I am glad that some of the guys did catch it. I don't know what it's sitting at from price, but what's the expectation? The expectation now is you took the 50. All right. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. I know a couple of you guys grabbed it. So I just don't know. I think it was just Tuesday, man. And I only had one cup of coffee. So because I started looking at it and I asked myself, why didn't I like a UJ trade with a 8.5 pip stop loss in a clean area? I mean, maybe I think, what I should have taken it, because I mean, even to Asian highs where I'd be looking to partial out, it's a 1 to 10. So I should have taken the damn thing. That'll go into my missed folders. So, but now what's the expectation where we're sitting at right now? I just need us to break, right? So this is my next goal, is I need to get above all of this redistribution. Once we do that, then it's just going to be, let's just say that this is what gets us up here, right? I'm either going to be looking for price to now come back and mitigate, right, before we go higher, or I'm going to play the continuation move, right? So, or we come here and we break and reaccumulate, and now I'll be looking to play a mitigation of our manipulation out of the continuation move, right? So I'm definitely bullish on UJ. I'll be looking for buys on UJ. I think everybody that's in UJ buys right now, I think you're especially if you got in today, I think you're positioned pretty well in it. And then ultimately, what's the overall goal? I mean, the overall goal is new high, right? So yeah, I mean, this is, 139, like 139, 300 to 400 level is probably where I'd be looking to, take off, a good substantial amount of volume, and we could see our next leg, just like we did here, right? I mean, we broke, we saw price come back in, make the high. Maybe that's when we come back in before we make our next high. So yeah, I agree with it. Is there a way to know you're getting a type 2 instead of a type 1? Yeah, no manipulation, right? No manipulation. So the higher time frame supply or demand is somewhere where you would look for evidence for a change in price. Yeah, absolutely. If you're bullish on the lower time frame and you're bullish on the intraday, but you're bearish on the higher time frame, and you come into higher time frame supply that's maintaining the leg, man, that's probably where I'd be looking to see if the market is going to show signs of supply coming back in, because whoever is controlling the market from the higher time frame in that leg needs to accumulate orders to get it back up into premium to sell the next leg off, So you don't fully understand supply and demand for the longest and still don't. I'm seeing how DXY is playing and it's frustrating. I realize what I'm lacking. Do you have I do not. I've never done a video on supply and demand. I think the easiest way to explain supply and demand is this. So if you understand Wyckoff and you understand when sellers and buyers come into the market, and you understand that in order for them to do anything, that they need to create a schematic, they need to create a distribution, they need to create an accumulation. If that accumulation or distribution, coming back to cause and effect, creates a new leg, then essentially you can validate that supply or demand has controlled that, right? So in a nutshell, in a bullish market, a distribution that just pushes price back into your next area to buy is not true supply, right? It's demand. Now, if that distribution ends up breaking structure, now we have, from a cause and effect standpoint, we have a reason to suspect that true supply is in there. And the true validation would be, does that distribution actually mitigate or come into previous supply from price action to the left? I mean, that's the best way to explain it, I guess. I will say this: it took me probably a solid 2 years to really understand supply and demand, because I was taught supply and demand is just support and resistance. It's very much not. Okay. All right, good. I'm all caught up. So yeah, on you, Jay, I'm most definitely expecting continuation buys. So what I'm going to wait for is, hopefully we can get above the redistro that is sitting right here, right? So sweep out these highs and then get ourselves back in. So again, I'll be looking continuation move. So look for reaccumulation, and I'll play continuation move on order flow, or I want to see us come back in. And that's why I have that alert sitting right up here. I want to see us come back down into mitigation points, right? On Chef JPY, so come on. There we go. So on Chef JPY, again, anybody that's been trying to sell Chef JPY, my condolences, because it is not going to end very well. 100%, I'm expecting us to get above the 144 level. And, realistically, what do we have? We have just a really crappy distribution. You have your creek, you have an accumulation in the lower end of it, price accumulating here. What's the anticipation? Massive reaccumulation. Maybe we come back in here or in here to make the next leg up. So I'm continuing to look for buys. I'm going to continue to play the continuation play. What I was looking at this morning, unfortunately, just never happened. It was this right here. So, once we confirmed reaccumulation, I wanted us to come back into this area here. Never got it. I was even contemplating, I would have taken it because it's Chef JPY, but I was even contemplating taking this lower end right in here. So you can kind of see what I wanted just from a micro level, playing the order flow. We had, I mean, and this is just what irritated me. We had a really clean distribution, accumulation, reaccumulation. We were sitting in this price action right here. So I was really hoping for a shakeout. No shakeout, so I didn't get into the trade. But the bias was that we were buying. I really wanted. The anticipation was that we were just going to continue up. So, and that's kind of where I was waiting on. So yeah, I'm still going to be anticipating some kind of pullback. Until we see that, I'm not buying anything up here. I'm not going to buy from premium. So how does demand push price down for a better discounted price without opening sell risk and canceling out the potential gains? So let me ask you a question. Do they hold stop losses? They don't, right? What do? It's them just moving money from one hand to the other. So they can hold drawdown for years, right? I mean, they can carry it on their books. It really doesn't matter. So they can push price down. That's the whole point of the mitigation, right? Eventually them coming back to mitigate is them closing out of those positions. So there is no risk on their part. They'll just hold it, right? They'll hold the drawdown as long as they need to hold it for. So from your understanding, the shakeout or the UTAD would be the last supply demand areas. And those are the areas that would want to play out of. Well, they're the last areas so your UTAD or your spring is your manipulation, right? That in a distribution that is the last buy up to fill the last sell orders that they needed to fill. So they need to come back into that price action to mitigate their buy position. So whether it takes a day or a year, they're going to eventually have to come back there to close it out. It's just a matter of whether or not when they're going to be able to do it. Okay. With that being said, would just be a rinse and repeat process on all time frames. Yep. Yeah, pretty much. I mean, that's the gist of it, man. Wait for I mean, I feel like a broken record. How many times have you guys heard me say, wait for the manipulation, play the mitigation, right? Let the sell orders come in. You see, you could sit there and see and watch the price action. You could see the sell orders being filled. Wait for the manipulation, let it break, right? Break structure or the order flow within that schematic, and then play the mitigation of it. That's pretty much all it is. It isn't crazy rocket science, you know. It's just, I'll tell you right now, the hardest part is just understanding the price action, understanding what you're actually looking at and seeing. And I'll tell you, that's what takes time. You know, everybody's going to be different. You know, everybody has different parameters around it. You know, I think I picked it up pretty quickly, and you know, it wasn't because though I just happened to magically pick it up. It's because I spent hours and hours and hours studying the price action and really understanding the true movement and what was happening in that candle. So, is there a way to know a manipulation is not needed for them to fill their orders? The one is if you have access to the order books and you can see that there's no more orders. Other than that, no. The only way you'll know is when they're gone. Yeah. Okay. So Chef GPY, I'm going to continue to look for buys, right? You know, this is still 100% viable for me right here. So we've definitely shown the expansionary move. I'm also anticipating indices to kind of give us some kind of pullback eventually. So with indices pulling back, we should also see some of these yen crosses give us a pullback, right? So this is something I'll be looking at because this is maintaining our order flow currently right now, right? This is the lowest form of order flow that we're being maintained on. And then going over to like NJ and AJ are pretty similar. Yeah, I mean, nothing about NJ really gives me any reason to not be massively bullish on this thing. So for the short term, right, like where we're at right now, we're just playing order flow. Until we break out this leg up here, do we then become, you know, in a new leg? But what I'm going to be looking at just short term wise is, you know, do we come back into mitigating this price action? This is what I want to see. Do we come back into here to make the next leg? And ideally, that's going to be the only really the big play that I'm going to be looking for right now, just because we are playing with order flow. Like if we trade below here, I may just sit back and wait. And then of course I've got an alert up here because if we take that high, then we do have a new leg, and I'll reevaluate it. But I do want us to pull back just so that I can get a position out of here. And AJ is going to be the same exact thing, right? NJ gave the manipulation, AJ did not. So what I want to play out of is, here's the break, you know, this is the slingshot, here's the extreme. So if we do return back into this price action, I mean, that's what I want to catch. I want to catch this move up here. So I'm a little bent out of shape because I did have a limit order out of this stupid thing right here. And I think she missed me by, I think it was 1 pip is what it missed me by. Yeah, it was 1 pip. So I was playing out of this micro accumulation here, and it came, yeah, 1.1 pips is what I missed out on it. So it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. Since you have a full-time job, do I just wait for price to come into your 4-hour POI and use the 5-minute time frame to for a schematic? Since I can be on the screens during, I mean, so can you be on the screens during New York? I mean, yeah, I mean, that's what I do. I mean, I wait for price to come into my points of interest, and then that's when I jump down to a lower time frame. You know, other than that, I'm sitting, you know, I typically sit on a 15-minute, 30-minute, hour chart, you know, because you could see everything on those. But that's pretty much what I do. How long did it take for you to be profitable? So I would say like a year is where I really started to become profitable, but I attribute that to my risk management, you know, um, where I got to the point where I really had a handle on what I was doing and where I can really say that, I make a living from trading. So I was probably like 2.5 years into trading when I finally, I take it back. I was probably like 2 years into trading when I finally started to put together Wyckoff, put together structure and market cycles. And, it was probably like 6 months of really spending a lot of time demo trading and back testing and ironing out my confirmations and my trading plan. And then from there, it was pretty quick. Once you, especially with prop firms these days, where I just had a prop firm reach out to me and I was kind of getting some info where they're offering a 1 to 400 leverage and they've got a 500K account. You make 10% a month on a 500K account, with a profit split of say 90%. That's 41K, man. 41K a month. You could start putting money into your own account. Think about it. In a year, you can have, over $250,000 of your own equity that you're trading on your own dime, on your own rules. So yeah. My advice is don't be in a rush though. If it takes you 4 years, it takes you 4 years. If it takes you 4 days, it takes you 4 days. Do it with purpose. Have goals and do it with purpose, but don't say, well, in 6 months, I want to be trading $1 million worth of capital and I want to be driving, whatever the heck you want to drive. I don't know, a 1979 International Scout. Don't put unrealistic goals on yourself, get the material, understand it, and then implement it. That's the key, learn it and implement it. If you can't implement it properly, go back and figure out why you can't implement it, properly or tweak whatever you need to tweak. I think the biggest issue that I've seen with traders is, they keep, it's the circle of trading. They keep just replicating the same errors and they're not, you're not either tweaking or making a change when it's warranted. So, all right, let's see. How do you manage work and trading? How did I manage work and trading? Well, it's kind of difficult for me because I couldn't just, there'd be instances where, when I was at work, I just couldn't do anything. So what did I do? I woke up early and I traded London session while I was working, yeah, I can tell you this, if it's, figure out through back testing is what's going to get you your scheduling, right? Like back testing for me told me that Thursdays and Fridays are the days that I want to make sure I'm trading. So if I can augment my work shift, if I can, if I had things I had to do, I made sure that Thursdays and Fridays I was on the charts. So, went right for the Scout. Dude, that was my first truck, man. 79 Scout. Diesel. It was a diesel too, man. Yeah, that was my first truck. That was my first car. 79 Scout. It was a piece of junk, man. So yeah. You've been struggling with risk management for 2 years. Yeah, what helped me manage my risk? Just do it. I guess the biggest issue is what's the problem with risk management on your end? For me, I know that if I'm trading, let's just say 100K account, that my max risk is $250 on a trade. And if I'm going to split my orders between like 50s and 80, I'm going to do 125, 125. That's it, so I need to figure out my lot sizes based off of those. And that's it. What's my cutoff? I have a 1% cutoff per day. So if I lose on a 100K account, if I lose $1,000 today, that's it. Shut it down. I go fishing, go jump in the pool, go do something else. So, risk management for me is not negotiable. It is survivability. You know, that's the easiest way to say it. You know, there is no deviation from it. It is what it is. It's absolute. Risk management to me is absolute. It is 100% on top of my trading plan. So what lot size do I usually use? It depends on the trade, man. If I'm taking a 1 pip stop loss on EU and I'm taking a 5 pip stop loss on NCAD, it's totally different lot sizes. So it's all dependent on the position that I'm taking, right? I have to know what the risk is first before I can figure out the lot size. What about this on EN? EN, geez. So you're on a 30-minute time frame. What's the point of interest that we're in? I'll tell you right now. I mean, this would be my schematic. If I'm in a right point of interest, this is the schematic. You've got it labeled as the spring, but that's the schematic right there. So, and then this would be your sign of strength, taking out the redistribution. So I would have that labeled as a redistro, and then you've got a sign of strength because you've taken out supply. All right. So that's AJ. Here, we'll look at EN real quick. I don't even know if I have EN marked up on anything. So where are we? We are, oh, this is not boding well, man. What's the point of interest that we're in? So we're, geez. All right. I don't even know what all this was, but here's your leg. So you're bearish from here, and it looks like you've broken order flow. So I'd be looking for shorts out of this. I mean, that's your distribution. Let's see. What do we come into? I bet we come into 50%. Let's see. We'll come over it. Do we come into, that's what we do. We come into 50 of here. Yeah, I mean, you've got a distro. You've got your distro right here, and you broke. So I'd be expecting price. I'd be shorting price out of here. I don't know if I'd be looking at buys on it though. Let's see. What kept you patient in your journey to become successful? I guess that's the big thing is you do it. I mean, I don't know. I've always learned, you need to be patient. Yeah, I don't know whether it's my military training that really taught me patience, or whether it's, yeah, I mean, I can tell you just do it. I wouldn't ask what kept you being patient. It's what's keeping you from being patient. Why be in a hurry to lose money? Why be in a hurry to make mistakes? Right. Understand what your goal is, figure out the steps you need to get to that goal, and then take your time being very diligent to do it. That's all it is. Yeah, I don't know if, so I guess my question would be what's giving you confidence that this is going to be the buy? Because we've broken order flow and we distribute it. So we can say that supply is present here. I honestly would probably suspect that whether we come here and do something like this and then redistribute, I bet you're probably going to redistribute out of here, out of New York price action. Yeah, I mean, you do it how you want, but I definitely wouldn't. Oh, whoa. Yeah. Yeah, man, that won't hold. That won't hold. But yeah, good luck with it. Let me know how it goes. But I'm pretty, if I was a betting man, I would probably say that, oh, did that break? Hold on. What did that cause the break? So if I was a betting man, I haven't looked at EN in a minute, but why did I circle that there? Oh, wait, no. Is that? Oh, yeah. Okay. 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 Yeah, that's where we're coming. So this redistro is what caused. Okay. So this redistro is what caused that. And where are we? So when was this? July 6th. Oh, we can get 1 minute. There she is. There she is. If EN didn't have a ridiculous freaking spread, I would be trading this, but damn, look at that. All right. So smack dab on the 50. So Frankfurt manipulation. What are we talking here? We're talking 11 pips. So this is the 80. So this is 80% of redistro that causes the first break of order flow. And then here's your 50. So yeah, that distro has been mitigated pretty much, but the 80% is still viable. So could they come back into that 80% of the Frankfurt price action? They could. So where is that in relation to where we're at right now? Where is that? That is sitting right there. So yeah, this is where I think you're going to see a sell. You'll probably see the sell out of here. So the question is whether or not she comes into this and then goes higher or just goes higher now. I'd have my money on it going higher now, because again, dollar is going to be pulling back, I think. So this means that the euro is going to pull up, and we already know that the Kiwi is weak. So yeah, I could tell you, I personally don't take buys out of Asian accumulation. So yeah. But that's, somebody remind me when we get up there. I want to look to see if it does do it out of there. That'd be interesting. We'll see next week. Okay. Well, am I covering indices? Yeah, we're going to do them right now. We're going to do them right now. So, okay. So let's start with big boy U30, right? Let's see. Yeah, you got it. So much like I suspected, right? And I know you can just look back at the last 3 weeks. I've been saying that I am not selling out of here because that's not supply, right? That was intended to simply do one thing and one thing only, get us back into our demand area, which we come right back into the reaccumulation. So this is where I've been waiting for the big short, right? That's where I want to sell from. What I'm going to be looking for, though, is now that we have a new leg, right? So on U30, we go from here, right? Because we break order flow here to this. So this becomes my first point of interest. And tomorrow, if we can get a pullback into that, I'll be looking for buys. Or do we short off and do we come back into here before making that new leg? Those are the only two ways I get into buys. And of course, if we just trade up higher, I'm going to be looking for shorts here. So I'm going to play continuation move on indices. That's really the only play I have is playing continuation moves up to our sell area, right? The key, where the heck is it? Let's see. I know it depends on the trade, but typically if you're up a 1 to 10 based on really good entry, but you are near a TP or market structure point, does the R to R matter? And you still only pay the risk? Yeah, I'm only going to, if we're not in a new, if we're not breaking a high or a low of something or getting into an area of potential supplier demand, yeah, I'm only going to pay the risk. You know, the entry, the ARTA to me doesn't matter. So yeah. So what I'll be looking at, what I will be looking at. Yeah. All right. So U30, we were looking at it this morning. I wanted to buy out of here if we came down. U30 did not give a manipulation. NASDAQ and SPX did. So for me, it's just play continuation move, right? There's really nothing here that I want to play. If we do come up higher, I'll be looking for a short, right? And if we get a pullback, so realistically, what do we have? We have a massive, I'll just use this box right here. We have a massive reaccumulation, right? We have a massive reaccumulation, and we'll just use one of these bad boys right here. Hold on. So there's our shakeout. Yeah, it still brings me right here. It still brings me right here. So yeah, it's going to be dependent on what we do. Like obviously, if we get some kind of shakeout, you know, this was today's New York price action. Nothing really got me interested in taking a buy out of it. I'm still interested to see if we can come lower. Can you take a look at this? At what? What am I looking at? I saw people get in on the low that was created on the 15th, and I couldn't figure out where to buy on US on the 15th. On the 15th? Oh no, there was plenty of opportunity to buy out of here. There was opportunity to buy for sure. I mean, we came into the 80%. So we came into the 80% now on U30. There wasn't an entry for me, but there was on NASDAQ. So on U30, we came in and I was waiting on it. I mean, I actually shoot my alerts are still there. Yeah, I mean, it gave a micro right in here, right? It gave a micro to play into. But that was it. NASDAQ had the cleaner entry. So you had U30 that was the leader. And when you get over to NASDAQ, I'll show you the entry on NASDAQ, but NASDAQ gave the entry. NASDAQ gave the type 1. So U30, I'm definitely going to be looking for buys. It's just going to be a matter of, do we get a pullback? And if we don't get a pullback, it's going to be a continuation move. So, you know, ideally, what would I be looking for? Today's price action was crap. You know, there was no manipulation really. So what I would want to see is maybe we distribute tonight and we come down, right? And we start to show either a sign of accumulation, or we just do this. And at the open, we give some kind of big shakeout with a break to the upside. And then I'll just play the mitigation of it. That's ultimately the only two ways I'm going to get into these buys. Yeah, it was the 14th. Yeah, it was Thursday. So that's U30 on SPX, same exact thing, right? I mean, we are, oh, come on, Trading View. So, you know, without a doubt, I was looking and you could see my alert was here. I wanted us to just come just a little bit lower, but we came into the right area that I wanted to buy out of. And, you know, we have now just confirmed. Right. So all of you guys that I was telling, I go, I'm not interested one bit in trying to sell it out of here. We just confirmed the reaccumulation, massive reaccumulation. So what I'll be looking for, and again, walking this up, you know, there were some buying opportunities out of here because I did get into some buys on SPX. You know, what I wanted to see was this morning. I really wanted this buy right here. I wanted this buy right here is what I wanted. And we just never got it. I mean, this was probably the most uneventful open that I've seen in a while on, you know, on indices. So I really was hoping that we'd get the push down so that we can walk this back up. Didn't get it. So, you know, same thing like U30. I'm going to play, I'm looking for buys. I'm playing either we pull back or I'm playing continuation move up to my sell area. And that sell area is going to be my lower time frame structure point. right? It is this bad boy right up here. This is where I want us, this distribution that led to the low, that's where I'm waiting right up here. So we've got a couple of more days to get up there. So we'll see how it plays out. I'm pretty happy that this is playing out the way it is. But yeah, there was some opportunity to take buys out of there. Nasdaq though was the cleanest, right? And same thing with Nasdaq, you know, massively looking here. Here it is. I've been waiting to take this puppy up into our sell area, which is up here. And if I'll show you the entry that was there from Thursday. So yeah, so this was Thursday right in here. Again, I was looking for us to come into this area here, right? This was the first opportunity. So pre-market New York. I mean, there she is, type 1 schematic, right? There she is, and there's your spring. So I was hoping to get a distribution turned reaccumulation to tag me in. We never get it, right? Never get it. And then here we'll walk her in. All right. So here's NASDAQ, right? So if you don't have the seconds time frame, you've got the 1 minute, and this was the 1 minute. So you've got so here it is, right? Here's your schematic. This is there's your climax to your rally, to your test, right? And then ultimately that's your spring. So, you know, measuring out this right here, that's your 50, that's your 80. So split order, you know, we come in right into the 80 and bye-bye she goes. And then there was a re-entry off reaccumulation, right? So as soon as price confirmed the distribution, the shakeout break, we come right back into the 50% of the shakeout. And from there, bye-bye she goes. So these are currently sitting at, I mean, what are we at right now? 12,300. So these are sitting at a 1 to 65, a 1 to 172. And this one's at a 1 to 52. So am I waiting for a schematic for the big? Yeah. Yep. Yeah, I am. I'm going to, just because the stop loss. So, yeah. And then I was same thing like SPX, you know, what was I waiting for today? You know, here it is. You know, I wanted us to come back into this, you know, I wanted us to come back into this. We didn't get it. There was a good short yesterday out of here. I personally didn't take it. I'm not in it. This was just to get us back into where I wanted to buy from. But what I want to see, right? What I want to see is, where are we trading into? I want to see us, yeah, realistically, I want to see us if we can trade into this price action here. So this is where, and you know, I've got my alerts. I'll wait for the schematic in here, right? One thing for me, like on indices, is you get one, you minimize your losses by waiting for schematics. And two, you get just fantastic entries. You know, you can get really, what was the entry? I think we took an entry on oh shoot, what was it? Was it US 30? We took an entry on US 30 the other day. It was like 8 points on US 30. So when you really can dive in and get confirmations off the schematics, it makes it, you know, you have a definitive stop loss. You know that if price trades above your UTAD, you're done. So, but yeah, that's really my game plan with indices, is I'm just going to continue to look for continuation moves. So I would like to see the short, right? And like I said, you know, we went over the yen crosses. We're expecting, hopefully we get a pullback on yen crosses. If we do get the pullback on indices, I'll be looking for continuation buys, you know, and just looking at it off of this, Yeah, just looking at it off of this, the 80% is smack dab in here. So I'd like to see us pull back at some point and give us that continuation move to the upside. So, but that's really what I'll be looking for on indices. And that's it. That's everything I'm looking for the week. Like I said, it's some of these dollar crosses. If we can get price to come in there, um, you know, yeah, I mean, it's dollar crosses, some of these Canadian pairs. I didn't talk much about CAJ, but CAJ is the same thing, CAJ, massively bullish. I was waiting for us to come back into here. We didn't get it. So now it's just play a continuation move, right? So what do we do today? We broke the high, and I'd be looking for price now to come into London price action here. So my alert still is valid. I just want to see us now come back and give me an entry. Yeah, I want it to give me an entry in here. What are we doing here? Let's see. I really wish that would have been cleaner. If that schematic was cleaner, I'd probably have a limit off the schematic. So what do we know? We know I mean, technically she came into that 50 already. Yeah. I'll wait. I'll just wait for a schematic in that area. But yeah, CAJ, I'm gonna wait on all these yen crosses. Same thing. I'll be waiting for price action right in here. So let it give us the pullback. If we get the pullback on yen crosses, we'll get the pullback on indices. Let them come in here and make the next leg up. So that's really what I'll be looking for. And I mean, that's pretty much it. That's my list for the week. Canadian pairs, focusing on some of the dollar, and mostly going to be targeting some of these yen crosses this week. So the yens are really giving me some good movement. Yeah, that's about it. Anybody else have anything else? If not, forever hold your peace. All right, that works. That works. So you were trying to take a sell on BTC. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I am not following BTC on a micro level, so I'm not interested in trying to margin trade it. But I'll tell you this: it's looking pretty bullish till we get up to the 30K mark. So, yeah, I mean, where were you trying to short it from? Yeah, I mean, this was it. Like this was the redistro, and we come into 80% right here. But what do? We just tap right into, we broke order flow. We come here, we make a new high, we tap right into this. So as soon as this happened, that's it. Like I felt like this was, I don't know who I told, but I felt like this was just going to take us up to the 30K mark where we potentially will see our next sell. Yeah. Yeah. This is where I think we're going to sell from right here. So, but who knows? Because I'll tell you what, Ethereum is making its move, man. I think it's going to be ill-fated, but Ethereum's making its move up into here. So what do we have? We just have a massive accumulation. We're starting to see a lot of accumulation of orders. I would just I'd be very cautious. I'm not complaining because Matic, I'm a big with Matic. So, Matic's one of the four that I'm really starting to, not that I've always been bullish on Matic, but Matic was one of the ones that I really just planned on getting involved with more and more while we were in a bear market. I wanted to dollar cost average. So, Matic, I'm up from my entry here. I'm up 180% on my investment on it. So, yeah. There was a nice LPSY buy trade on ETH when you back tested it. It was a nice okay. So an LPS entry. I don't know if there was a nice LPS entry though on ETH. Yeah, I don't know if there's on what time frame. Yeah, for me, I don't see it. So we break here. So this is your test of that, but then we don't make a new high. I mean, you definitely see a lower time frame accumulation in there, but yeah. For purposes of taxes on crypto, do you use software that link all? Yeah, I do. Yep. Yeah, what do I use? I use coin tracking right here. Coin tracking info is what I use. So it's this right here. Yep. Yeah. All right. Awesome. Well, cool guys. Listen, it's been fun. I'm going to go grab some dinner. Trade safe. Have a great week. Definitely implement your plan, implement trade management. And, my suggestion is, if you're finding inconsistency or if you're finding that, if you're finding that you're not at where you want to be, stop doing the same thing over and over again. Figure out I'll be honest, that's the whole reason I got on my Wyckoff journey was I wasn't satisfied with the level of performance I was getting out of straight identifying zones and doing break and retest. I wanted to know more about the market. I wanted to learn more about price action and why the market was pivoting and moving from certain price points. I think my level of understanding, I'll tell you right now, like if you go back to one of my videos on my YouTube channel from 2.5, 3 years ago, and you watch it compared to what my understanding of it now is, it's 100-fold. I wouldn't even say 10-fold. I'd say 100-fold. And it's just, treat it like a profession. I mean, you don't fall for the gimmick that you're going to be at the club, pulling up in your Lambo and you're going to be taking trades off your phone. I'll tell you right now, don't do it. I mean, don't have that misconception. I mean, this is a profession. Have your office hours, have your game plan, have everything that you need to succeed. Don't half-ass it. That's probably the biggest thing. Do you have any requirements or reaccumulations or distros? They got to either break through the ice or jump across the creek and make a new high or new low to confirm. So, and always remember that a redistro was a failed accumulation. So unless you have evidence of an accumulation, and typically you're going to get evidence of accumulation without signs of strength, vice versa for distros. Those are clear indicators, but for me, it's a two-part confirmation: break through the ice, jump across the creek, and a new high, new low, confirming invalidation of the previous distro or accumulation. So, but awesome guys, listen, enjoy. I will catch everybody later. If you guys have any questions, hit me up in the chat. I'll try to respond as quickly as I can. So have a great one. And oh, wait, hold on. Are there a large amount of trades for you that go break even? Yep. Yep. Yeah. Obviously I take partials out of them, but yeah, I mean, I would say that out of 10 trades that I get into, I probably lose 5 of them, and 3 of them will go break even. Only 1 or 2 of them I get really big runners on, but I make sure to partial out and partial often. So yeah. Or yeah, and I do miss a lot of trades. So when I miss a trade, what do I do? You know, if it doesn't come into my entry, play the continuation move. So, but you got it. Well, listen, have a great one, guys. I'll catch everybody later.